So it's been a while since I released the videos on my Landau John boat that I redid the decking and the flooring in. I figured it was about time to do a quick update on it. I'm getting ready to take it out camping with the family, and I figured I would go over some of the things that have turned out nice, and also kind of some of the tips and maybe suggestions if you are also storing yours outside, because that's where this one has been since I finished up a little over 2 years ago. So first thing is the cover. So it's a canvas cover. It's like one of those universals for a 14-foot John boat. And this particular one is a 300, but that's because I just replaced the original one that I had on there, which was a 600. It was much heavier. You can kind of tell just looking at this that it's a little lighter, but it is waterproof, at least for now. I've had this one on here for a couple months. The 600 lasted almost 2 years. You can see that I've got PVC supports underneath it, and that's what keeps it from bunching up. I've also got some 550 cord strung there with one of those tarp grips. It'll still pull water a little bit, but not as bad as if this wasn't there at all. But I'll pull this off and I'll show you what the supports underneath there look like. All right, so what you can see is I've got 1/2-inch PVC spanning from end to end, and then I have these 1.25 to 1/2-inch T's that are kind of fish-mouthed, cut open, and then I've got them set up. Pull it back, push it down, there you go. And then I got them set up, you know, every 3 feet or so down the boat, and that's what gives me the support I need to keep that top from falling in, and also from just hanging on the seats. I leave the seats in the boat, and then the boat has stayed outside all this time, and you can see it still looks pretty new, pretty clean. I have found some snakeskin in it, so I haven't been surprised yet, but I found a snakeskin over in this area, and I don't see anything right now, but maybe we'll find one while we're hunting through the boat.
I bet you it's in there.
Maybe it's in there. Let's see if it's in the live well. That'd be scary, wouldn't it? Look at there, there's water in it.
Still?
It's probably from water piling up right here. So my trolling motor control tray has turned out pretty good. The depth has turned out to be really nice. When I was putting it together, I thought a pretty long time about how high I wanted it to be, how deep, and this turned out to be pretty good. That center seat post, I definitely haven't really used it that much. In fact, I think I've tried to use it 1 or 2 times with that swiveling seat, and it actually kind of just swivels out of the way, so it doesn't really work out too good for me right now. It's nice to have it. I do have a butt seat, like one of those that's on the front of a bass boat, but I haven't really messed with that either. So just because it turns out to fish better standing up for my personal preference anyways. This battery is still holding up great. That box is wonderful. The amp and stereo is awesome. Still have no problems with that or the timer. One of the minor annoyances with the switch panel is just that it's those large toggles, and then sometimes when you step down off of the deck, depending where this seat is, like let's say it's right there, you may kind of nick it with your foot or hit it with your leg or something. And I actually ended up, because I've got that aerator on an on switch, so that middle position is actually the off switch. One of those, I think probably toward the top, is a manual, and the timer is toward the bottom, so like it's actual override one of those directions. That way I can fill the live well up. Otherwise, with the way the timer's set up, it wouldn't fill the live well up when you initially start to use it. The swivel seat's great. When I go fishing solo, I just take it out though. It doesn't really do me a whole lot of good. It's pretty much usually just in my way. It gives me a little bit more room. I mean, obviously the boat's not huge. My fuel tank is usually sitting there in the back corner, And then I've got a little tackle backpack that I usually throw in there, about in this area, and a small cooler. So most of the floor space is taken up. And then even though this thing has a nice swivel action, which is great when two people are on, when it's just me, it's still in the way. So I usually just pull it out of there. These old rubbery rod holders actually turn out pretty well. I'll put 3 rods there, and usually hang one over the top of this area, and I could still loop the Velcro over, and then I'll even lay one down there, so I can get 5 rods on the boat without having to have any lay on the floor. So that's kind of nice. What else? I don't know. The TackleWebs? Yeah, the TackleWebs. So the TackleWebs has turned out to be pretty handy. I usually put my phone and like a microfiber cloth and, you know, whatever. Just stuff that I don't want to keep in my pockets and I don't want on the floor and I don't want to have to dig through a bag for it, and I throw it in there. Usually if I've got a bag of worms that I'm using, I'll probably throw them up there in the troll tray, keep them out of the way. It's pretty handy actually. Yeah, I think that's probably about it. My old manual jack plate is still working out pretty good. I'm pretty much running it on about the highest setting. I don't think it'll go any higher than that. And the old Evinrude 25 is still rocking and rolling. So again, if you have any questions, anything specifically on the boat or how I did it, feel free to post down in the comments below, and I'll try to help you out any way I can. All right, thanks for watching, and if you're one of the subscribers, thanks for hanging on. We appreciate it.